The content provided in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional diagnosis, treatment, or consultation with a qualified healthcare provider. Always seek the advice of a physician or another qualified health provider with any questions or concerns regarding a medical condition. By listening to this podcast, neither its hosts, guests, nor publishers establish a doctor-patient relationship, and no liability is assumed for any decisions made based solely on the information presented.
Welcome to this BINA podcast, where we are delving into the eQuip initiative, a groundbreaking effort by the FDA under the Mammography Quality Standards Act. Our hosts are going to explore this topic in a manner you probably have never considered before. So, whether you're a healthcare professional or just curious about advancements in medical standards, this episode promises to enlighten and engage. Stand by, the podcast is starting now.
All right, everyone. Get ready for a deep dive today. We're going right into the heart of breast imaging.
To a program called eQuip.
It's causing a buzz in the industry, and we're going to figure out why.
Absolutely.
We've got a ton of sources to dig into, research studies, insights from the American College of Radiology.
Even some FDA materials.
A real knowledge buffet.
Yeah, it's an interesting one for sure.
So eQuip.
That's E-Q-U-I-P.
Okay.
Pronounced like equipment, but without the marshment.
Gotcha.
Stands for Enhancing Quality Using the Inspection Program. And it's all about, raising the bar for image quality in mammography.
Okay, color me intrigued. So I know mammography is super important for early breast cancer detection, right. But what's this eQuip program all about? What makes it so special?
Well, think of it this way. We've had the Mammography Quality Standards Act, or MQSA, for a long time. And it set the gold standard for, making sure mammography facilities are doing things right. But MQSA has historically focused more on the technical side of things.
Okay, like making sure the equipment is calibrated properly, the images are clear, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. But what eQuip does is it adds a crucial layer of clinical interpretation on top of that.
Oh, okay.
It's about recognizing that even with, perfect technology, the radiologist's expertise is absolutely essential for accurate breast cancer detection.
So it's not just about having a fancy machine. It's about having a skilled physician who knows how to actually read the images it produces.
Precisely. And that's where the lead interpreting physician, or LIP, comes in.
The LIP.
Yeah. eQuip really puts the spotlight on the LIP's role in ensuring the highest quality image interpretation and driving those all-important quality improvements within a facility.
That makes a lot of sense. So you could have, the most high-tech mammogram machine in the world, but if someone isn't expertly interpreting those images, it's kind of pointless, right?
Absolutely. One of the studies we're looking at actually highlights this perfectly.
Oh, cool.
Researchers at the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center found that when they implemented eQuip's rigorous review process, they were actually able to detect malignancies that had been previously missed.
Wow, that sends chills down my spine.
Yeah.
Talk about a real-world impact. So it's not just theoretical. eQuip is actually helping find cancers that might have otherwise slipped through the cracks. It's huge.
It really is. And this wasn't just some random addition to MQSA. The FDA implemented eQuip back in 2018, and it's gotten progressively more stringent over time. Initially, participation was voluntary.
Okay.
But now, facilities can actually be cited for not meeting eQuip's requirement.
So they're not messing around. The FDA clearly sees this as a critical component of, quality breast imaging. Mm-hmm. But what was the driving force behind this shift? Why the sudden emphasis on the LIP and clinical image quality?
Well, the FDA recognized that MQSA, while it was strong on the technical aspects, it wasn't fully addressing the clinical interpretation side of things.
Yeah.
They saw this crucial gap that needed closing to ensure, the highest level of accuracy in breast cancer detection.
So it's like having a state-of-the-art kitchen, but not knowing how to cook.
Right.
You need that chef's expertise to make the most of those tools. Okay, so we've got the what and the why of eQuip. Now let's talk about the how. So what are some key things a breast imaging facility needs to consider when it comes to implementing eQuip?
Well, first and foremost, they need to have clear and detailed standard operating procedures,
okay,
or SOPs, as they're often called, for conducting those clinical image quality reviews. Think of them as the playbook for how these reviews should happen.
Okay, so like a step-by-step guide to make sure these reviews are done consistently and thoroughly.
Exactly. These SOPs need to outline everything, from selecting cases for review to documenting the findings, and most importantly, detailing how improvements will be implemented based on those findings.
So it's not just about like pointing out what could be better. It's about actually having a system in place to make those improvements happen.
Absolutely. And that brings us to another crucial element, roles and responsibilities.
Oh.
equip really emphasizes that the LIP is in charge of steering the ship when it comes to quality.
So they're ultimately responsible for making sure everyone on the team is on the same page when it comes to image quality.
That's right. The LIP oversees the whole review process, but it's a team effort. Everyone involved in mammography needs to understand their role in maintaining these high standards, from the technologists acquiring the images to the radiologists interpreting them.
Teamwork makes the dream work, as they say. And speaking of teams, I know the ACR offers a ton of resources to help practices with equip. I bet those are pretty helpful for navigating all of this.
They are. The ACR has really stepped up to provide guidance on equip implementation.
Oh, nice.
They've got checklists, templates, webinars, even on-site consultations, basically a whole toolkit to help mammography practices get up to speed and ensure they're meeting those equip requirements.
That's fantastic. It sounds like they're really holding people's hands through the process. Now, let's talk about those dreaded inspections.
Oh, yeah.
FDA takes equip very seriously. So what should a practice be doing to make sure they're ready when those inspectors come knocking?
The magic word here is documentation.
Okay.
You need meticulous records of all the activities related to your clinical image quality reviews.
So we're talking about keeping detailed records of every image reviewed, every finding, every action taken based on those reviews, right?
You got it. When the FDA inspectors show up for their annual visit, they want to see exactly how your practice is maintaining those high standards that equip demands.
And it's not just about showing them what you did, it's about showing them how you're continuously improving.
Right.
Because equip isn't a one-time check, it's an ongoing process.
You're absolutely right. Practices need to demonstrate a real commitment to constantly striving for better image quality. They need to be ready to show evidence of those ongoing reviews and any adjustments they've made to their procedures based on what they find.
So it's like a constant feedback loop. Review, improve, review again, and just keep that cycle going.
Precisely.
To really nail that inspection readiness, mock inspections are a great idea.
Definitely.
It's like a dress rehearsal for the real thing, right?
Uh-huh.
A chance to identify any weak spots in your documentation or processes before the FDA actually shows up.
Smart.
Okay. We've covered a lot. What equip is, why it was added to MQSA, even some practical steps for implementation.
Yeah, we've been busy.
But I think it's time to zoom out a little bit and connect all of this back to the bigger picture.
Absolutely.
Why should we care about all of this?
If we look at the bigger picture here, equip is ultimately about ensuring the best possible outcomes for patients. It's about catching those breast cancers early, when they're most treatable and when treatment is most likely to be successful.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the critical role of quality improvement in all of this. Because ultimately, equip is all about improving image accuracy to facilitate early breast cancer detection, right?
Right. Early detection is absolutely key, and mammography is the cornerstone of that effort. But it's not perfect.
Right.
Some cancers can still be missed. Some findings might be flagged as potentially cancerous when they're actually benign.
Ugh, those false positives. I know those can be so stressful for patients.
They are, which is why image quality is so crucial.
Yeah.
The clearer and more accurate the images are, the better equipped the radiologist is to make the right call.
Okay.
Equip, with its emphasis on clinical image quality, aims to minimize both false negatives, those missed cancers, and false positives.
So it's about striking that balance between being thorough and avoiding, unnecessary worry for the patient.
Exactly. It's also about being efficient with, healthcare resources. Unnecessary biopsies and follow-up tests add a lot to healthcare costs.
Yeah.
And equip, by improving image quality and interpretation, is helping to make the system more efficient.
It's like fine-tuning a radar system to pick up real threats without getting distracted by every blip on the screen. Okay, that is a fantastic overview of equip and its impact.
But there's so much more to explore.
Oh, I'm sure there is. I'm already hooked.
Good. We'll be back with part 2, where we delve deeper into the impact of equip on radiologists, technologists, and, most importantly, the patients themselves. Don't go anywhere.
Can't wait.
Hey there! Whether a healthcare professional, patient navigator, or passionate about breast health, here is some exciting news.
The Breast Imaging and Navigation Alliance, or BINA, this new vibrant Facebook group has been created just for you. BINA is your space to connect, share, and learn. Explore exclusive resources, gain expert insights, and join a supportive community dedicated to making a real impact in breast imaging and care. So, while you finish listening to the rest of this podcast, why not do a little multitasking?
Yeah. Jump into Facebook groups, search for the Breast Imaging and Navigation Alliance, and join in.
Welcome back to our deep dive into equip. As we were chatting before the break, I was struck by how equip really pushes us to view quality improvement as, an ongoing journey rather than a one-time destination.
Yeah, it's like that saying, the only constant is change, right? And in breast imaging, it seems like things are always evolving. Like there's new technologies and techniques emerging all the time.
Absolutely. We've come a long way from, the early days of film mammography.
Yeah, for sure.
Now we've got digital mammography, 3D mammography, contrast-enhanced techniques. It's really remarkable how much progress has been made.
Yeah, it's like mind-boggling. And I imagine each of those advancements has brought like its own set of benefits and challenges for the folks on the front lines, the radiologists who are interpreting those images and making those critical calls.
That's where equip really shines.
Okay.
It provides this framework for radiologists to consistently evaluate and refine their practices, ensuring they're getting the most out of those advanced technologies.
So it's like having a coach in their corner, helping them stay at the top of their game.
That's a great analogy. Equip encourages that constant striving for improvement, both for individual radiologists and for the entire breast imaging team.
Because it's not just the radiologist who plays a role in image quality, right?
Right.
The technologists who acquire those images are equally important.
Absolutely. They're the ones positioning the patient, setting the technical parameters, making sure the images are clear, free of any, artifacts that could obscure the interpretation.
That's like an orchestra, really. Every musician needs to be in sync to create, a beautiful, harmonious sound.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
And equip acknowledges the importance of that teamwork.
Okay.
It encourages practices to have clear guidelines and training programs for technologists to ensure they're producing the highest quality images possible.
So equip is like raising the bar for the entire breast imaging team, not just the radiologists. It's a collective effort to ensure the patient is getting the best possible care.
Exactly. And I think that focus on teamwork is one of equip's most valuable contributions. It fosters this culture of shared responsibility and, continuous improvement within the entire practice.
Now, you mentioned earlier that equip isn't just focused on catching cancers. It's also about accurately identifying those benign findings to, avoid unnecessary procedures and anxiety for patients.
That's right. One of the challenges in breast imaging is that some benign findings can actually mimic the appearance of cancer on a mammogram.
Oh, wow.
It takes a skilled eye and a deep understanding of breast anatomy and pathology to differentiate between the two.
So it's a bit like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but some of the hay looks suspiciously needle-like too.
That's a great way to put it. And that's where equip's focus on clinical image quality comes in.
Okay.
It provides radiologists with the tools and the framework to sharpen their interpretive skills and make those critical distinctions with greater confidence.
So equip is not just about finding the cancers, but also about avoiding those false alarms that can lead to unnecessary stress and interventions for patients.
Exactly. And that brings us to another important aspect of equip, the emphasis on communication between the radiologist and the referring physician.
Right, because the radiologist is the one interpreting the images, but it's ultimately the referring physician who's discussing those findings with the patient and deciding on the next steps.
Right. Equip encourages clear, concise reporting that facilitates smooth communication between these two key players, ensuring everyone is on the same page and the patient receives the most appropriate care.
It's all about collaboration, isn't it? It seems like equip is like fostering a more integrated, team-based approach to breast healthcare.
It really is. But at the end of the day, it's the patient who's at the heart of all of this.
Absolutely. So how does equip ultimately benefit the patient?
Well, ultimately, equip is all about improving patient outcomes.
Okay.
It's about increasing the chances of early detection, which we know is crucial for successful treatment and survival.
Right.
And by reducing those false positives, equip helps to minimize, the anxiety and stress that can come with a potential cancer diagnosis.
I can only imagine the relief patients must feel when, equip's emphasis on accuracy leads to a more definitive and reassuring diagnosis.
It's incredibly significant. And it's not just about, the peace of mind. Avoiding unnecessary biopsies and procedures also means, less physical discomfort, fewer potential complications, and lower healthcare costs for the patient.
So equip is really a win-win for everyone involved. Better outcomes, less anxiety, and a more efficient healthcare system.
Exactly. And it goes beyond those, immediate benefits. equip promotes transparency and accountability within breast imaging practices, which ultimately fosters trust between patients and their healthcare providers.
Yeah, that trust is so valuable, especially when we're dealing with something as sensitive as breast health.
Absolutely. When patients know that their breast imaging facility is adhering to equip's rigorous standards, it gives them confidence that they're receiving the highest quality care possible.
It sounds like equip is really like shifting the paradigm in breast imaging, moving away from simply checking boxes for compliance and towards a more proactive, patient-centered approach to care.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that's a perfect segue into the next part of our discussion. We've talked about equip's impact on the technical and clinical aspects of breast imaging.
Right.
But what about the bigger picture?
You mean how equip fits into the grand scheme of, breast cancer detection and treatment?
Exactly.
Where it all falls on the timeline of breast cancer care.
We've made tremendous strides in our understanding of breast cancer, and the tools and techniques we use to detect and treat it are constantly evolving.
And one of the most exciting areas of advancement right now is artificial intelligence, or AI.
Yes.
I've heard so much about how AI has the potential to revolutionize healthcare, and I imagine breast imaging is no exception.
You're right. AI is poised to play a major role in breast imaging.
Okay.
Researchers are developing algorithms that can analyze mammograms and other imaging studies, assisting radiologists in detecting, subtle abnormalities and making more accurate diagnoses.
Wow, that sounds like straight out of a science fiction movie. So
Yeah.
How does equip fit into this AI-powered future?
That's a great question. By establishing such high standards for image quality and interpretation, equip is laying the groundwork for AI to really flourish in breast imaging.
So it's like equip is like setting the stage for the next act in the breast imaging drama where AI takes center stage.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that AI isn't about replacing radiologists. It's about augmenting their skills and giving them a powerful tool to enhance their decision making. Think of it like giving them a superpowered assistant to help them navigate those complex images.
It's a perfect synergy, isn't it? Equip ensuring the quality of the images, and then AI coming in to help radiologists interpret those images with, even greater precision.
Precisely. And it's not just AI. equip is also driving innovation in other areas of breast imaging, like the development of new imaging techniques that are more sensitive and specific for detecting cancer, particularly in women with dense breasts.
Right, because dense breast tissue can make it harder to spot those subtle signs of cancer on a traditional mammogram. So equip is really acting as a catalyst for progress, across the board, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's an incredibly exciting time to be in this field, and I have no doubt that equip will continue to play a vital role in shaping the future of breast cancer detection and treatment.
Okay, so we've talked about equip's impact on radiologists, technologists, patients, the future of the field.
Right.
But there's one piece of the puzzle that we haven't fully explored yet, the nitty-gritty of equip's impact on quality control.
That's a crucial aspect, and it's really at the heart of what equip is all about. You see, before equip came along, MQSA already had, quality control measures in place, but they were primarily focused on the technical side.
Okay.
Making sure the equipment was calibrated correctly, the images were exposed properly, that kind of thing.
So equip goes beyond just making sure the machines are working properly.
Right.
It's about looking at the bigger picture of how those machines are being used and how those images are being interpreted.
Exactly. equip adds this crucial layer of clinical image quality review, asking the question, okay, the machine is working fine, but are we actually getting the best possible images from it? And are those images being interpreted accurately?
So it's like a quality control audit for mammograms, making sure everything is up to snuff.
That's a great way to think about it. And equip provides this structured framework for conducting those reviews, ensuring they're done consistently and thoroughly.
I'm curious, what does a typical clinical image quality review look like in practice? Walk me through the process.
So the first step is for the practice to decide which cases they're going to review.
Okay.
This might involve a random sampling of mammograms, Or they might focus on cases with specific findings or characteristics where they want to ensure the highest level of accuracy.
So they're not necessarily reviewing every single mammogram that comes through the door?
Not necessarily. It's about being strategic and focusing on the cases that are most likely to reveal areas for improvement.
That makes sense. So once they've selected the cases, what's next?
Then a qualified reviewer, usually the LIP, carefully evaluates those selected mammograms. They're looking at things like the positioning of the breast, the technical quality of the images, and whether the radiologist's interpretation aligns with, established guidelines and best practices.
So it's like having a second set of expert eyes, like scrutinizing those mammograms.
Well, precisely.
Oh.
And they use, standardized checklists and criteria to make sure the evaluation is objective and consistent.
Okay.
If the reviewer finds any areas where the quality could be improved, those findings are documented and shared with the entire team.
So it creates this continuous feedback loop where the review process identifies areas for improvement, and then those improvements are implemented to enhance the quality of future mammograms.
You got it.
Yeah.
And that feedback loop is the key to ongoing quality improvement.
Right. It's about constantly striving to do better and provide the best possible care for patients.
So equip is really embedding quality control into the DNA of the breast imaging process.
Yes.
Making it an integral part of, how things are done. And I imagine that commitment to quality is having a ripple effect throughout the entire, breast imaging community.
Absolutely. Equip is raising the bar for everyone, encouraging a more proactive and collaborative approach to quality improvement.
Yeah.
And it's not just about meeting those regulatory requirements. It's about going above and beyond to ensure the best possible outcomes for patients.
It's inspiring to see this level of dedication to excellence in breast imaging. But I have to imagine that implementing these new equip requirements comes with its own set of challenges.
Of course. Change, even when it's positive, can be difficult.
Yeah.
One of the biggest hurdles for practices is simply the time commitment involved in conducting those clinical image quality reviews. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a lot of extra work on top of an already, busy workload for radiologists and technologists.
Exactly. And it can be particularly challenging for smaller practices or those with limited staff resources.
Yeah.
There's also the learning curve involved in understanding and implementing these new requirements.
Right. Equip introduces a whole new set of procedures and terminology. It's like learning a new language in some ways.
That's a great way to put it. And that can feel daunting, especially for those who have been doing things a certain way for many years. But thankfully, there are resources available to help practices navigate this transition.
Like the ACR toolkit we talked about earlier.
Exactly. The ACR has been fantastic in providing support to the breast imaging community.
Right.
They offer webinars, training programs, on-site consultations, and even a dedicated helpline for any questions or concerns. It's like having a mentor guiding you through the process, letting you know you're not alone.
That must be so reassuring for practices that are feeling overwhelmed.
It really is. And I think that support has been crucial in helping practices embrace these new requirements and see them not as a burden, but as an opportunity for growth and improvement.
It's like turning a potential obstacle into a stepping stone.
Exactly. And that sense of community is so important in healthcare. We're all working towards the same goal, to provide the best possible care for our patients.
And Equip is helping us get closer to that goal, one mammogram at a time. But there's another challenge I'm kind of curious about. Since Equip is implemented at the practice level, is there a concern about variability in how it's applied and enforced?
That's a valid concern. While the FDA provides, guidance and checklists, there's always some room for interpretation.
Right.
Which means one practice might be, more stringent in their Equip compliance than another.
So a radiologist who interprets mammograms for multiple facilities might encounter different expectations and procedures at each site. It's like trying to hit a moving target.
That's a good way to put it. And this lack of uniformity can lead to, confusion and inconsistencies in patient care, which is something we definitely want to avoid.
Yeah. So how do we address this variability and ensure a more consistent approach to equip implementation across the board?
Well, open communication and collaboration are key.
Okay.
It's crucial for radiologists, technologists, and administrators to work together,
Yeah.
both within their own practices and with other facilities to share best practices and ensure everyone is on the same page.
So it's about fostering that sense of community and shared learning that we talked about earlier.
Exactly. The ACR is doing a lot to facilitate that collaboration.
Oh, good.
Offering workshops and conferences where breast imaging professionals can connect, share their experiences, and learn from each other.
It's like creating a network of support to help everyone navigate these new waters together.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the most positive outcomes of EQUIP.
Okay.
It's brought the breast imaging community closer together, united in our commitment to providing the highest quality care for our patients.
So EQUIP is not just about improving mammograms. It's about improving, the entire system of breast healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a pretty remarkable achievement.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that's a great place to pause for now.
Yes. Let's take a breather and come back for part 3, where we'll wrap up our exploration of EQUIP.
Did you know there's a new place, just getting started, that aims to bring together the community of breast imaging patients, professionals, navigators, and caregivers to share tools, tips, and strategies, supporting one another and helping enhance the breast health journey? The Breast Imaging and Navigation Alliance, or BINA, is where you will find this place. You're going to find guides, spotlights on information from peer-reviewed literature about breast imaging and breast cancer from around the world, wellness tips, and technical features. And this February, they are starting a feature called Today's Squeeze. Spotlight on the day, celebrating every day with a moment of reflection on the many vital topics on navigating breast health. Not a member? Isn't now a perfect time to check out the Breast Imaging and Navigation Alliance? Join our Facebook group to be part of what is destined to be a new wave for the breast imaging and navigation community's future.
Welcome back to our final part of this deep dive into EQUIP. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It really has. And as we've been, talking about all of these different aspects of EQUIP, one thing that keeps coming back to me is how this program really encourages us to think about quality in healthcare on a much grander scale.
Yeah, it's like EQUIP's impact extends, far beyond just the world of mammography, right?
Yeah. Exactly. It's really setting a new standard for how we approach quality improvement across all areas of healthcare.
That's a great point. And it makes me think about some of the ethical considerations that inevitably arise when we're talking about like these kinds of healthcare advancements.
Oh, absolutely.
Specifically, I'm wondering about the potential for, disparities in access to high quality breast imaging.
Right.
With the implementation of EQUIP.
Yeah, that's a very important point.
Because, we know that healthcare disparities are a persistent problem, and we need to be really mindful that programs like EQUIP don't unintentionally exacerbate those disparities.
Exactly.
It would be good if EQUIP ended up creating a system where, some patients have access to like top-notch breast imaging.
Right.
While others, perhaps in underserved communities, are left behind.
Yeah, ensuring equitable access to, high-quality breast imaging for all women, regardless of their, socioeconomic status, geographic location, or any other factors. That's absolutely paramount.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how can we work towards mitigating those, those potential disparities as EQUIP becomes more widespread?
I think one crucial factor is providing adequate resources and support to facilities that might struggle to meet those EQUIP requirements.
Right.
This could include, financial assistance, targeted training programs, mentorship opportunities.
So it's about like leveling the playing field.
Yes.
Giving everyone the tools they need to succeed, regardless of their starting point.
Precisely. We also need to be vigilant about monitoring the implementation of EQUIP.
Okay.
And watching for any, unintended consequences.
Like what?
For example, if a facility is struggling to keep up with those requirements, we need to make sure they're not cutting corners or, reducing services in a way that could harm patients.
Right. We need to be very careful that EQUIP's implementation is like truly benefiting patients and not inadvertently putting them at risk.
Absolutely. Regular monitoring and evaluation of EQUIP's impact, both on the quality of breast imaging and on patient outcomes, are essential to make sure it's actually achieving its intended goals.
So it's not just about setting the standards, but about like following through, making sure those standards are met in a way that benefits everyone.
Exactly. And I think this really underscores the importance of transparency and accountability in healthcare. Patients deserve access to information about the quality of care being provided at different facilities so they can make informed decisions about, where to go for their breast imaging.
Absolutely. Patients should feel confident that, their healthcare providers are meeting the highest standards of, quality and safety.
Right.
It sounds like equip is prompting like some much needed conversations and action around these crucial issues.
It is. And it's not just about the ethical considerations themselves. It's about how we address them.
Right.
It's about, fostering open and honest communication with patients, educating them about the risks and benefits of screening, and empowering them to make, informed decisions about their healthcare.
Yeah, that shared decision-making model is so important in all areas of healthcare.
Right.
It's about, respecting patients' autonomy and ensuring that they're active participants in their own care.
I completely agree. And equip, by promoting a more patient-centered approach to breast imaging, is really helping to support that shift towards shared decision-making.
Okay, so this has been a really, incredibly insightful discussion.
It has.
We've delved into the technical aspects of equip, explored its ethical implications, and even glimpsed into the future of breast imaging a bit.
It's been quite a journey.
As we wrap up, I'm curious to hear your hopes for the future of this program. Where do you see equip going from here?
I think we've only just begun to see what equip can accomplish.
Okay.
My hope is that it becomes so deeply integrated into the fabric of breast imaging that quality improvement is simply a natural part of everything we do.
That's like quality becoming second nature.
Yes.
Something that's woven into the very DNA of breast imaging.
Exactly. And as equip evolves, I hope it continues to push us towards providing truly personalized, patient-centered care.
So that means tailoring screening recommendations to each individual's unique risk factors and preferences.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that, every patient is different.
Yeah.
And providing them with the information and support they need to, make the best decisions for their own health and well-being.
It's a beautiful vision for the future of breast imaging, and one that, equip is really helping us realize.
It certainly is a very exciting time to be working in this field, and I'm very optimistic about the impact equip will continue to have.
It's been a fascinating deep dive into equip. We've covered a lot of ground, from the technical details to the bigger picture of its impact on quality, patient care, and even the future of breast imaging.
It's been a pleasure sharing these insights with you and our listeners. Hopefully everyone will walk away feeling as inspired and optimistic about the future of breast imaging as we do.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us on The Deep Dive. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a fascinating topic in healthcare. Until then, stay curious.